What is going on with these airplanes? So, guys, just got back from Texas. I was in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, and on the plane ride going and coming back, all I could think about were the airplane accidents and incidences that were going on throughout the country, rather around the world. So, of course, right before I get on a plane that night, I see all of these memes and stories about the plane incidences that were going on or mishaps that were going on around the world. And or at least here in the United States, excuse me. There was one that happened in Indonesia. I think it was yesterday, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, I'm not a great flyer. I'm sort of a nervous flyer. Like, I don't show it. I'm just in my head. I'm like going over the million and one things that could happen. So, all of this, guys, it doesn't make sense. And I'm trying to figure out if there's a lack of training, laziness, or just part of the plan, because something isn't making sense. We've never seen this many incidents in one, in 1 month. Now, granted, there are airports that have incidents over, let's say, 10 years. And I think Mississippi, which I happened to look up by accident, they had like 1,500 over like 2 decades, something like that. 1,500 over 2 decades. We saw 5 nationwide, major ones nationwide, inside of a month. So something doesn't make sense. Something is not right. Nonetheless, we're going to go over the incidents that happened over the past month. Now, we're going to start backwards. We're going to start with February 5th. There was an incident where a military contracted plane, I think there were contractors on the plane, crashed in the Philippines, not Indonesia. I said that earlier. That was a mistake. It was in the Philippines. If I'm not mistaken, four or five people on that plane wind up dying. Now, when there's a military contractor plane, you start to wonder who's on that plane. Nonetheless, they crashed in a rice field in the Philippines somewhere. You also had the same day, February 5th, there was an incident with, it was either the 5th or the 4th, excuse me, where the incident with the Japanese plane in Seattle scraping another plane's wing, right? So obviously both planes are not out of commission. Again, I don't understand, guys, these close calls. And like, though that the plane incident on the tarmac wasn't a big to-do because they caught it early, and all they have to do now is take both planes in, unload both planes, which I know takes a lot of time, takes hours to get to find another plane to get those people back on. That's not the point. The point is that was an incident that could have been very well avoided. Now, there was another incident that I saw on Instagram. I don't know how old it was, but apparently there was a plane taxiing onto the runway, or onto the liftoff pad, or the area where they take off, excuse me. And they were taxiing onto that as a plane was coming to take off. So they were on I forgot what it was called, man. I knew the term when I was looking this up, excuse me. But they were on the runway to take off, excuse me. And another plane was taxiing onto the same runway. And the flight controller, you can hear telling the plane that's about to take off to abort takeoff. And then they do, and then the plane doesn't take off, slows down. I guess they have to go around. The craziness, guys, is that you have 2 people in the cockpit. 3 if you look at the navigator. But there's 2 people in the cockpit at any given time. At the very least, there's 2. So one should be looking left and the other one should be looking right, and they should be overlapping fields. I don't understand this not seeing a plane on a runway as you're approaching it, nonetheless. As you're approaching it, and you're going, you don't look to the right and go, holy shit, there's a plane coming. Let's stop here. No. Air traffic controller had to tell the plane to stop, which was bizarre that no one else saw it. Not even the passengers in the back are yelling and screaming, stop. Nobody. I'm like, they didn't see this? So there's, again, laziness, stupidity. Something is going on because it doesn't make sense. Now, you had this incident that was very, very suspicious. I thought it was. The January 31st plane that crashed in Philadelphia. And that was the one that looked like a missile out of the sky and matched the sound of a missile exploding. Now, everybody was saying it was a medevac plane. That thing didn't look like a plane. And even if it did, whoever was piloting that plane had to have done that on purpose, because the speed that it came out of the sky was insane. And supposedly, according to the FAA, they were only in the sky for 40 seconds or 48 seconds. Still, to reach that level in 48 seconds and then nosedive all of a sudden, that just didn't feel right. So, of course, they're investigating that, but there's something more to that, and I'm not buying everything I'm told with that. Now, this is the bigger story, the January 29th Blackhawk versus Delta Airline, right? And obviously, both lost. When you look at the video, there was another video that came out. This video was a better angle. And this angle, you can see the Blackhawk and you can see the plane clearly. There is no way, guys, that a Blackhawk helicopter goes into a plane that is dead set in front of them. Now, somebody in my comment section in the last video I did about this, they said that the pilot was focused on another plane. And when I did some more research, the plane they were focused on was about 1 mile to 2 miles away. So it was in the distance. There's a plane right in front of you. What was it, landing or taking off? But you can see it. And again, you have two pilots. It's not like the helicopter's nose was up and they couldn't see the plane coming. It's leveled, or some in cases, depends on how fast they're going, it's tilted down a little bit, right? So as it's flying, you don't have overlapping of view. Your co-pilot missed a fucking giant plane, and you missed the giant plane, and the fucking third pilot in the back, if I'm not mistaken, or navigator or observer missed it as well. All three people missed it. It doesn't make sense. And then the plane, at least the co-pilot sitting on the right-hand side, could have seen it. Though the plane, when you watch that video, you can see the plane try to make a slight adjustment to miss the helicopter, but it was too late. Because you see the light shift from the plane. So the pilot tried to make a move, but the helicopter just flew straight into it. It was, and that's one of those accidents, man. Like, even if when you're driving your car and you're headed towards something, your natural reaction is to bank left or right. This helicopter made no fucking such move. If you look at this video, it was clear as day. And supposedly, this video was released by airport workers or something like that, and both of them were arrested for releasing this video, excuse me. So again, that crash is the more interesting crash because there's something that's just not panning out. And a lot of people are pointing that it was a P-25, and that's a code for, if I'm not mistaken, private or protective personnel or something like that. It was like it gets a high designation lettering, if you will, or it gets a high level designation, excuse me, to let people know that this is an important package or an important airport or air vehicle, excuse me, right? So again, something isn't right about that. Now, of course, guys, the FAA and everybody else, right, the NSBT or the NSTBA, whatever they're called, they're the National Traffic something or another, they're going to lie to us. Whatever might have been going on in that Blackhawk, they're going to lie. It seems like, guys, when I looked at the video from numerous angles, the helicopter flew right into the fucking plane. That was it. There was no maneuver being made. There was no call out. There was no mayday. Just boom, right into the plane. January 28th, you had the F-35 in Alaska that gets malfunctioned, and that's where the pilot ejected from the plane. Now, you don't see the pilot ejecting from the plane, but you do see him coming down. At least I didn't see him eject from the plane, but I saw him coming down, which I thought that was cool. But I'm like, all right, he's safe. Now, the the DC crash, there were 67 people on board the Delta airline. All their bodies were found as of today, if I'm not mistaken, and all 4 military personnel were found from the Blackhawk. The medevac jet, there were 7 people on board. All 7 people obviously were found, and that was it. The Japanese incident, there was no injuries, and then this incident with the F-35, there was no injuries. The pilot made it out. And you also had the January 2nd plane crash in California, where, if I'm not mistaken, 2 people died and 4 people were hurt. All of this, guys, to say that something isn't making any sense. There are more accidents, major accidents. Now, there are a ton of incidents. There's a ton of smaller accidents and mishaps on the ground. A lot of those are going down. But we're seeing way too many major incidents in the sky. like the door that came off the plane, what was it, last year, where the kid was sitting in the seat and his shirt flew. I don't know how that happened, but his shirt came right off and his phone came out of his hand, and there was this gaping hole in the side while everybody's sitting there panicking, and somebody was filming that. And then there was another one, but this one was done on purpose in Japan, or maybe it was Korea, where the guy opened the door and they were holding on to somebody they were pinning him down, and then somehow he got free and opened the door. That's what it was. And then you saw them videoing that, and everybody's sitting there panicking and shit. Something is up. Something is not making sense. Are they trying to make air traffic? Because when I went to Texas, going and coming back, there was nobody in the I was going to say LGA, like you guys know, LaGuardia Airport. There was barely anybody there. I got there around noon, and there was no one there. I got through the line inside of 5 minutes. Never in my life, even on a dead day or a slower day, have I gotten through security in under 5 minutes. When I got to Texas that same day, there was no one in the airport. Like barely anybody in the airport. What the hell's going on? So then coming back, I'm coming back Wednesday. Nobody in the Dallas airport. Again, I got through security it would have been under 5 minutes if they didn't take forever to do the body check, because I don't like doing the machine thing. But I would have got in there under 5 minutes if that didn't happen. And then I go through the airport, there's barely anybody there. I get to JFK coming home the same day, there's no one in the airport. So clearly, guys, something is up. And I think people are scared. That's probably why there wasn't so many people there. Because both days, I went on a Saturday, which is normally fucking crazy in an airport. There was nobody there. Now, yes, you can argue it's the end of January, but still, I've never been to an airport. I've been to airports all times of the year, and I've never seen that, ever. Have I seen an airport so empty, and have I seen planes with so many seats on them? Seats available, I mean. Listen, something's got to give. But other than that, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching the Angry Prepper channel.